What's going on, everybody? It's Pelfrey. Welcome to another update of the Red Sea Reefer 250. I got a couple things to go over. Number one, you can probably see the laptop over there. I do have the center par meter in the tank. This is the Tunze strong magnet, and I absolutely love this magnet. Now, I have run into it a couple times where I've tried to switch panes of glass and the wet side has fallen into the tank. But luckily it's fallen close enough to where I could just put the dry side close to it. It pulls it to it, but I've been able to scrape the core line on the edges of the tank pretty seamlessly with this particular scrubber. So I'm very, very satisfied with the scrubber so far. Cleaner so far. I do have back here the ATI ICP test, and I've not done an ATI ICP test. The last time I did an ICP test, it was the ATI. I think I said I have the ATI. I have the Triton. I cannot get my thoughts. This is the Triton ICP test. The only ICP test that I've done was the ATI ICP test. I'm planning on getting those 2 vials set up and sent off this week. Now, I noticed right off the bat, and I knew this going into it, that the Triton ICP test does not test roadie water, which I'm not too concerned about. But with the ATI version, they actually send you a prepaid postage envelope to send back, whereas on Triton I'm gonna have to pay for it. So it's not a big deal, whatever. So, and I do want to give a shout out to Telegram. He's on Instagram. He sent me his Triton ICP test results just so that I can have something to compare it to. So aside from that, now I do want to say real quick that these videos are not as up to speed as I wish that they were. So this has been out, the algae turf scrubber has been out of the sump for a little while. I did back down the lighting schedule on it, and I ended up just pulling it out of the sump area, which I got quite a bit of real estate back from that. So I do have some rock rubble here and another piece back there in the return chamber. And then I moved the mini BRS carbon reactor to the back wall here, which is where I had a reactor hung back when I started the tank. I was originally going to list the algae turf scrubber for sale, but after talking to Reef Keeper, aka Phil, he said, hey, why don't you hang on to it for a little while just in case. So I did move. This is just a high level sensor. It's connected to the Neptune Apex FMM module, and basically if that's ever triggered, then that definitely means that my sump has overflowed or the water level has risen substantially, and it triggers an alarm, number one, an alert, and then it shuts equipment down. And I do want to say real quick that there was a lot of comments on the last video showing the 2 Neptune doses. So this is alkalinity, this is calcium, this is acro power. So the reason that this is low is just because I did not dose as much calcium as I was alkalinity. So the alkalinity portion has been filled up again. And then again, I have the kalkwasser behind the tank. So I understand that the tank is not stocked, so I don't need to be dosing anything. So all that I'm doing right now is, if I test alkalinity and it's lower than I need it to be or I want it to be, then I'm dosing alkalinity. Likewise with calcium. Now, I dose about 3 or 4 milliliters of acro power every day. So that's a continuous dosage. I'm also dosing just like 10 milliliters of kalkwasser, so it's not really making that big of a difference. But I did test alkalinity this morning, and it is now at 8.5, I believe. So I've slowly been bringing that up. Calcium was at like 390, so I thought it was at 420 or 450, but it may have been test error. So I got a pretty good definitive answer today when it come back at 390. Triton test will let me know that for sure. Magnesium, which I thought was 1500, actually came back at like 1280. So again, you know, it could just very well be testing error on my part. You know, it is what it is. My tank is not consuming it, so it doesn't really matter. But I do know that the coralline algae growth has slowed down a little bit. So you know, obviously these elements are being consumed in the tank, and typically whenever there's a problem, everybody says look at magnesium, because depending on the magnesium number, that could be a telltale sign of what is going on. So again, I do have two Gyre 230s on the tank, one here, and then an MP10 on the back wall here. And I actually got the WXM module coming just because I got it on eBay for like 70 bucks, which is a pretty good deal for that. It's close to about half off. Now, it is the old casing, meaning that it doesn't have the gray Neptune Apex casing on it, but you don't ever see any of my modules anyway, so I really don't care about the color. But just real quick here, the Seni is hooked up. The Kessils are running at like 54%. All four of the T5s are on. That's about midway at the tank. The flow is on, and we're at 212, 248, 217, so it does jump back and forth. So I do not think, again, that lighting is my issue. I don't know that for sure it's been the algae turf scrubber, but I don't believe that the algae turf scrubber has been helping me. I think I shot myself in the foot because on the Apex Classic, you can actually log into the IP address and change the names of the variable speed outputs. I actually had them labeled wrong. I had this one labeled color, which it's intensity, and I had this one labeled intensity, and it was color. So for reference here, now that I have it correct, because you know I like to make things harder on myself, this is the color, which is the color is at 50, excuse me, this is 55%, this is the intensity at 70%. The par, with the meter right there halfway in the tank with the T5s off, is at 99. No flow in the tank. So let's turn some T5s on, see what kind of difference we make. The par meter hasn't moved. This is with the Kessils only. Now if we turn on the T5s, you can see it jumps up substantially. Now likewise, if we scroll down here and we turn off the intensity and we turn off the color of the Kessils, the par is you know, about halfway. So it's pretty unanimous that the Kessils and the T5s together work some pretty good wonders. So if we go into the Kessil intensity, this is a 70% intensity as far as the Kessils are concerned. And we compare this to the color, which the color is at 55%, 205 right in its current location. So if we increase the intensity, now that I have the proper labeling done, you know, it's a dumb mistake on my part. So we'll just max them out at 100%, let that load. Still loading, and the par right in the middle of the tank goes up to about 242. So it's definitely, you know, something I could live with there. But if we move this around a little bit, well, this is the top portion of the tank, 260. Down here by this frog spawn, we're at 200. So I think I'm gonna put the Kessils on about 70% and just run with it. And that, folks, is just a prime example of just not following through and thinking that something was set up correctly. Really kicking myself in the butt right now because I've killed SPS left and right. You know, I still don't think that the algae turf scrubber was helping the situation. But, you know, it is what it is at this point. The only thing I can do is move forward with it. You know, this, if I can get the par meter to sit still, it's what kind of sucks about this thing is it likes to float. So, for the most part, you know, these pieces over here, except for that money cap right there, there's a couple pieces over here that are still doing quite well. You know, that piece back there, it's probably on its way out. I should probably frag it. You know, this piece right here, it's still not doing well, but you know, live and learn, live and learn. As always, I do appreciate you watching and following along. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef. Check out the website at pelfrey.net. Stay tuned for more stupid mistakes.